Hello, and welcome back to the Misty Morrison Podcast. I'm your host, Misty Morrison, and this is episode 67 of Petty Please. Here on the Misty Morrison Podcast, we love to read or listen. We love to see all the stories of pettiness, revenge, entitlement, malicious compliance, bad bosses, bad neighbors, all the things, and be grateful those stories are not our drama. Before we get into our stories for the day, our usual housekeeping, whether you are new or returning, please remember to engage the content to help the channel grow. Every little bit of engagement can help build the dream. Engaging online is completely free. If you are listening on podcast, please leave a 5-star review if you liked it. Anywhere else, give it a like, a heart, a thumbs up. Subscribe for more. Hit the bell icon to be notified every time I post a new video. Share it with a friend if you liked it, and leave a comment with your thoughts on stories down below. I read all the comments. Yeah, today was a remote day. I slept in a little bit. No makeup, but it's okay. It feels better anyway. It's too hot outside. We are in the middle of a heat wave, and I think it's about 100 degrees outside, so I'll pass on that. All right, story number 1 is coming to us from r/neighbors from hell. 2 whole nights of silence. I forgot what sleep felt like. After months of midnight parties, blocked driveways, and getting threatened when I asked for quiet, something changed. The landlord finally sent a formal warning with threat of eviction. Although it can take months or even years, but something changed. It's been 2 days of complete quiet. No shouting, no parties. They still swear at my house when they walk by, but who cares? I actually slept through the night. I know it might not last. I'm still documenting everything. The reports are filed and the wheels are turning. But right now, I'm just sitting here enjoying the silence like it's a luxury spa treatment. Small wins. Celebrate them where you can. Trying to give everyone a little hope. Good for you. I am so glad to hear it. Starting off on a positive note. Oh no, I pressed too many buttons. Okay. Story number 2 is coming to us from r/neighbors from hell. My new downstairs neighbor is a church. This one is labeled What Would You Do Vent/Rant. A few months ago, my downstairs neighbors started subletting half of their retail unit to a church. Now, every Sunday, I'm woken up by extremely loud, amplified music and singing with a live drum kit directly beneath my bedroom. They hold 3 services per week and 1 additional practice, sometimes going on for hours. The volume of their music shakes the floor of my bedroom, and it can be heard loudly in every room of the apartment, and it absolutely disturbs my right to peaceful enjoyment of my living space. Around the 3rd week, I grew frustrated and fired back by putting on my own music. Not so loud as to ruin their service, but just to let them know how thin the walls are. This had 0 effect, and they continue to blast their music directly underneath my bedroom several times per week. Over the last month or so, it's escalated to the point where I set up my PA system and started fighting fire with fire. If it's okay for them to play music at that volume, then it's okay for me to do the same. I've grown frustrated to the point where I'm almost ready to point the speakers to the floor and simply drown them out with the PA system and make it impossible for them to hold services here. I don't see any kind of compromise solution working here. They will not soundproof the unit as they are clearly broke. They won't simply get rid of the drums or turn the volume down. The reason they are subletting this unit is specifically so they can play their loud music without disturbing their own neighbors. I feel bad for retaliating, but given that they are holding regular live music services and practices in a residential building with 0 regard for the people who live here, I feel it's at least somewhat justified. Am I the neighbor from hell? Is it worth it to complain to the landlord even though it's more than likely that nothing will be done? You are not the neighbor from hell because you're right. Turnabout's fair play. But turnabout should not have been your first route. What you should be doing is recording the instances, calling the police, and submitting the instances and complaints to both the police and the landlord. Subletting a unit might not even be allowed. A lot of places don't allow that. So I think definitely check your lease agreement and see what it says in regards to subletting. That could be a really easy solution. Um, I get that it's awful, but I would not have started with retaliation. I would have started with proof. Proof and complaints, because as you said at the very beginning, this disturbs your right to peaceful enjoyment of your living space and is probably breaking noise ordinances. So call the cops every time it happens. Report it. Report it to your landlord. One of them will do something to help you. Story number 3 is coming to us from r/neighbors from hell. My neighbor repeatedly records me and my family in our backyard. I need legal advice. This one is labeled, "What would you do?" vent/rant. Location, Wisconsin. I'm a 22-year-old female located in Wisconsin, and I'm looking for advice on what I can legally do. My goal isn't to escalate the situation in a way. I just want the recording and monitoring to stop. For some context, I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood where all the houses are fairly close together. Our house has a raised deck, which means we're easily visible from neighboring properties. The neighbor to the left of us, who's probably in her 70s, has a large sliding glass door that she can easily view us from. The issue is that whenever I'm outside, whether I'm grilling, relaxing on the deck, or just spending time in my backyard, she records me with her phone from behind her curtains. I've caught her recording me 3 separate times, but other members of my family have had similar experiences with her doing the same thing. Today, I was hanging up lights on my deck, and that's when I noticed her. This happening was my last straw. To give some background, she's what most people would describe as a non-confrontational Karen. Rather than speaking to us directly, she has a long history of calling the city over minor issues. I lived here during high school, moved away for about 5 years, and moved back last September after leaving my apartment. We have had this property for 8 years. During the years I wasn't living here, my dad told me she called the city on our house somewhere between 25 and 50 times. It got to the point where city employees were regularly coming to our house to investigate her complaints. According to my dad, the city eventually told her to stop making these complaints because many of them were either extremely minor or had already been addressed. For example, she complained that one of our gutter downspouts was flooding her backyard, but the downspout had already been inspected, approved, and observed by someone from the city while it was being installed. I haven't confronted her because I don't want to create more conflict. My grandma and I are quiet people, and I work second shift, so I'm not even home during most evenings. I simply don't want to feel like I'm being watched or recorded every time I step into my own backyard. One thing I should add is that our privacy fence is already at the maximum legal height allowed by our city, so putting up a taller fence or blocking her view that way isn't really an option. Is there anything I can legally do to make this behavior stop? Edit/more info. For those recommending cameras, we do have a Ring camera placed near our back door, which does have a small view of her further backyard. It would not catch her in the act, though. I am not authorized to give legal advice in any way, shape, or form. But have you reported to the police the recording? Because, and you said you're in Wisconsin, so depending on what state, but I feel like there is typically a right to an expected right to privacy within your own home, and I believe that includes your deck or your backyard. So if you can get proof, like get your own videos or pictures of her recording you and turn it into the police, maybe they could do something to make her stop. I know I have heard of people where the neighbor's Ring doorbell camera is pointed directly at my front door. And the police will come out and say, that's not allowed. You have to turn it where it's recording your own property primarily. So that's the only thing that I can think of that might be an option for you. Story number 4 is coming to us from r/entitled people. My dad's girlfriend thinks I have monthly lady time to spite her. Warning if you find the talk of menstruation gross. It's not graphic, but it's there, so... Okay, I'm gonna be so honest. I'm so heated right now, so if I make spelling mistakes, my bad. I'm rage typing. But a lot of my friends who I'd vent to are night shift workers, so I'm not gonna wake them up. Anyway, I went on a short holiday for Father's Day with my family, and I've been having issues with him because he's dating an actual demon, and it's awful, but that's another story. Anyway, again, boys, if you think periods are gross, please flee the scene. I have a heavy flow, and when she's here, she is here. If you know, you know. I know. And obviously, when Auntie Flo's in town, I'm not having the best time ever, and sadly, she currently is. So I stayed at my grandparents' place because Grandpa only has so long left, and we are doing a family thing. And I was on my period and showed up because, duh, and I unfortunately left a stain on the sheets I was sleeping in. Granny don't care, but my dad's beloved demon spawn of a girlfriend brought the bed sheets that were in the laundry room into the living room on Father's Day to shame me for being gross and tried to embarrass me. Such a sweetheart. Anyway, Granny went nuts, kicked her and my dad out, and they are both banned from everything. He'll maybe be welcomed back if he writes an authentic apology note and dumps her, but he's a loser, so I doubt it. Why I posted to entitled people? Oh, because she told my grandma I had my period in my granny's house to spite her for her menopause, and that I was taunting her and that I was trying to mock her for her infertility. I swear, you guys, I'm not exaggerating or making this up. That was legit what she said. Like, can you tell the period fairy to shut this off, please? I will gladly co-sign. Also, why are you checking my bed sheets when we are both grown adults not sharing a room, weirdo? That was a whole lot, and that was a whole lot of crazy. Yeah. I don't think I can even address that because why? Just why? Props to Granny. Props to Granny for kicking them out because what Demon Girlfriend did, bringing the sheets in to shame you, was unacceptable on every level, uncalled for, because genuinely she was the only one who cared. All the problems that exist are only in her head. Props to Granny. Sorry, the rest of them are your family. The dad and the girlfriend. Sorry for them. Story number 5 is coming to us from r/neighbors from hell. My mom's neighbors criticize everything she does every single day. This one is labeled vent/rant. I live in another city, but I came home for a few days to help my mom with the garden and the fruit harvest. She has a small house with a yard, a vegetable garden, a few chickens and ducks, cherry trees, and berry bushes. We are planning to make jam together. I always knew she complained about the neighbors, but I honestly thought she might be exaggerating. I was wrong. It's only the 3rd day I've been here, and today alone I've heard them loudly commenting on my mom at least 5 different times. My mom walked outside to water the cabbage, and they immediately started talking about how she was showing off. Then they criticized her clothes and even her pants. She was literally just watering vegetables in her own yard. Later, she fed the chickens and ducks. They discussed why she gave one thing to the chickens and something else to the ducks. While I was picking berries, my mom went to pick cherries. They started saying that she was doing all the work while I had come to visit and wasn't helping. The funny thing is that I had already finished picking enough berries and had gone inside to wash and sort them. They couldn't even see what I was doing, but they still made up their own story. It feels like they watch everything. If we're outside, they come out. If we talk, they listen. If my mom does anything, they have something to say about it. One day we were sitting inside the house discussing whether she should sell the house and move somewhere quieter. We were talking at a normal volume in the kitchen with the window slightly open. Somehow, they heard us. And before long, other people already knew that my mom was supposedly selling. Brief intermission while I was choking to death on air. I survived, barely. I coughed so much there were tears. Find where I left off here. Somehow they heard us, and before long, other people already knew that my mom was supposedly selling the house. Another time, my mom got so frustrated that she swore under her breath after listening to their comments. Instead of leaving her alone, they started talking about how someone like her could even be hired to work at a school. The worst part isn't even what they say, it's what it does to my mom. I'm the type of person who doesn't care what strangers think about me, but my mom is different. She thinks about every comment afterward. She replays them in her head. And this has been happening for years. I was only here for 3 days, and I already feel emotionally exhausted. I honestly don't know how she's managed to live next to these people for so long. Has anyone else dealt with neighbors like this? How do you handle it? This is insane. Update. I honestly didn't expect things to get even worse while I was writing this post. Since I started typing, my mom has gone outside a few more times, and every single time they had something to say. She went to pick some garlic from the garden. They immediately commented on it. Then she walked over to the chicken coop. Another loud comment. One of the hens laid an egg, and somehow that became something for them to talk about too. At this point, it feels like they comment on literally everything she does. It doesn't matter if she's watering vegetables, feeding the chickens, picking fruit, or just walking around her own yard. They always seem to be watching and always have something negative to say. After seeing all this with my own eyes, I ordered a security camera for my mom's house. I don't know if it will solve anything, but I want to have an objective record of what's happening because this doesn't feel like normal neighbor behavior anymore. I agree. This is freaky. Update. First of all, thank you to everyone who commented. I really appreciate all the advice, especially the suggestions about security cameras and audio recorders. After reading your comments, I ordered a security camera for my mom's house. Hopefully, it will at least document what has been happening. A lot of people asked whether my mom has ever confronted them. She has. She has gone over to them more than once and calmly asked why they keep talking about her and commenting on everything she does. Every time, they denied it completely. They told her they had never done anything like that. It's like they're trying to make her think she's insane. The saddest part is what this has done to her over the years. At one point, my mom even started wondering if she was imagining everything because they denied it so confidently. I was right. She seriously considered seeing a psychologist because she thought maybe something was wrong with her. That's how much the situation has affected her. After spending just a few days here, I've personally heard them commenting on her over and over again. Seeing it myself has made me realize that she wasn't imagining it. Again, thank you all for your advice and support. Reading your comments has been really helpful. Update. A few people asked why I'm not there more often. I moved to another city to attend university. During my 4th year of my bachelor's degree and throughout my master's program, I was studying full-time while also working at a school. I graduated with my master's degree this January. I was lucky enough to get a job at a wonderful school with an amazing and supportive staff. After moving out of my university dorm, I rented an apartment and stayed in that city because of my job. My mom lives alone, so I came home for a few days to visit her and help with the garden and fruit harvest. She had told me about these neighbors before when I visited on weekends, but back then it didn't seem to happen nearly as often. This time it feels completely different. It's as if they've become obsessed with commenting on everything she does. The school year has just ended and my mom is on summer break, so she's spending much more time outside. Maybe that's why I've been hearing it so much these past few days. I can't know for sure, but the difference compared to my previous visits has been shocking. Update. I'll definitely think about the fence. It might help create a little more privacy, although it won't completely solve the problem since they seem to comment whenever my mom is outside. Still, it's something worth considering. Thank you for the suggestion. Right, because if they can't see what she's doing, what will they be able to comment about? Update. Something else happened tonight, and that honestly left me speechless. It was already after 8 p.m. I stepped outside for literally 5 minutes. Somehow they appeared almost immediately. As soon as they saw me, they commented that it was the first time I'd come outside all day. The funny part is that it wasn't true at all. Earlier that day, I'd been outside picking berries and helping my mom harvest cherries. After that, I spent hours inside washing the fruit, sorting it, and removing the cherry pits because I didn't want to sit outside. The fact that they didn't see me for a few hours, but immediately noticed the moment I stepped outside in the evening really surprised me. Then they started laughing about it. At this point, I honestly don't know what to think anymore. And also, thank you all again for your advice. I wanted to share a small update. I talked to my mom about the suggestions you gave us, and she agreed that putting up a privacy fence is a good idea. We already have metal fence panels left over from when we replaced our old fence a while ago because we bought extra. Now we only need to buy a few more posts and hire someone to install it. The security camera has also already been shipped, so we'll be installing it as soon as it arrives. Hopefully these changes will give my mom a little more privacy and peace of mind. Even if they don't completely solve the problem, they'll be a good first step. Thank you again to everyone who took the time to comment and offer advice. I really appreciate it. This is quite possibly one of the most insane things I've ever read. It's like they are stalking her and deliberately trying to make her think she's crazy, like to make all these comments in a way that you know she can hear. And then when she asks you about it, to deny it and say, oh no, we never said anything like that. It's weird. It's like they're trying to mess with her head. And it's so consistent, it's scary. I mean, if your mom loves where she lives, if she's really attached to it, I mean, she has so much going on with the fruit trees and everything, definitely try the cameras, see if they scare them into stopping because they know there will be proof of what they're doing now, and try the privacy fence where they can't see her. They won't have anything to comment on. That's realistic. But I mean, if you guys are willing to do those things and those things don't work, sell it. Her mental health is not worth it. Story number 6 is coming to us from r/neighbors from hell. Spitting in the garden. My neighbors, formerly quiet, have now got 3 elderly parents living with them. We live very close together. I rent, the neighbors own their house. The old guy is in the garden all day, chopping, shoveling, digging, sometimes from 6 o'clock in the morning until 5 o'clock at night. He wakes me in the morning. It's relentless. He hawks and spits every morning. It makes me sick. It's revolting to have to listen to that whilst eating my breakfast. Do you think I am within my rights to put a polite note in a letterbox to get them to stop him doing this socially unacceptable thing every morning? He doesn't speak English. The second comment on here puts it out perfectly. It says he's spitting in his own garden on his property. Relax, Karen. And that is exactly it. He's entitled to do what he wants in his property, regardless of whether or not you think it's disgusting. I also agree. I hate the sound of it. Hate that sound. That's a thing that a lot of men do. A lot. Apparently, it's a thing that they really can't help doing. Whatever. But then I also know some men don't do it, so... He's not being absurdly loud. You just don't like it. He's on his property. He's not spitting in your garden. You can't do anything about it. No one's going to come and force anything. Don't be that neighbor. Don't send them the note. There's a comment before that says, get a fountain to drown out the sound from over there. Honestly, this is a battle you will lose. Unless they're spitting onto your property, it isn't your business. Exactly. Someone else replied to that one and said, fans or white noise machines work great as well. Yes, I think that's right. It sounds like you have your windows open if you can hear him outside his garden while you're eating your breakfast. So whatever window that's in, either put a fan there, get you a white noise machine that's like will sit between you and the window to block that out. You either have to block it out or get over it because it is not your business. Story number 7 is coming to us from r/neighbors from hell. Neighbor has been trying to go through my mailbox the last 2 weeks. I don't know what country you're in, but here in the US that is illegal. Since last Monday, I've been getting notifications on my Ring Cam that my neighbor had been going near my mailbox and using the two-way talk function. I've spoken directly with my neighbor asking what's going on, which neighbor replies, mail carrier said they accidentally put one letter meant to go to my house in your mailbox by mistake. I told them, you realize you're tampering with someone else's mail. Please stop. I'll notify my daughter who is home to get the mail, and if she sees anything that says your name, I'll have her bring it over. Every time my daughter has checked, there's nothing with my neighbor's name on it. Today was the final straw, and when I saw my neighbor was back, I told them, touch that mailbox and I'll report you to the post office. Neighbor says to get my daughter outside to prove there is nothing for them. I text my daughter and she proves there is nothing. I have countless footage of the neighbor's behavior and I report it to the post office because it's disrupting me at work, and I think they're doing this on purpose just to be a jerk. Luckily, every time the neighbor has done this, I'm on lunch break, but still, it's annoying. Post office said they'll deal with the neighbor tomorrow, but to keep the video evidence. I mean, good for you for reporting it to the post office because that is the correct people, but I would go further and report it to the police because at this point it is consistent harassment. Honestly, with their consistent behavior and the way they've been acting, and I mean, clearly they lied when they're like, oh, well, the neighbor said that they put something for me in there, or the postal carrier said they put something for me in your box, and there wasn't anything, and then they keep coming back and checking on different days. I would not feel like this is a safe enough person to send my daughter out and be like, hey, just go appease him. No, there's something going on with this guy. Keep your video evidence, share it with the post office, but also call the police for tampering with federal property and harassment. At this point, this is harassment. It is a continued issue. The first comment says, the mail carrier said that? Makes no sense. If the mail carrier noticed it, she would put it in the right mailbox, not gone and told the neighbor. And OP replied, it definitely doesn't. The mail carrier in my neighborhood is a reliable carrier and never had a wrong house delivery. I think neighbor is just acting like what's in that mailbox. And the next comment said, the next one's gold box, said, I would get a locking mailbox immediately because neighbor is up to something. Agreed. Neighbor is up to something sketchy. But as far as the first comment saying if the mail carrier noticed it, she would put it in the right mailbox, not necessarily. We live rural and we have had, absolutely when subs are out, neighbor's mail put in our box, we just take it to the neighbor. But there have been times when I'm getting a small flat package in the mail and the carrier misses the package when they're at my house. Well, my mom-in-law's house is later on the same mail carrier's route, so she'll just put it in my mom-in-law's box and send me a message later, let me know, because we know her, and let me know hey, I missed this one package at your house, I left it with your mom-in-law. No big deal. Sometimes they'll come back around and drop it off because the route is also on her way home. But sometimes she'll just leave it. She knows it's family. She'll just let me know hey, I missed it. Sorry. This is where it is. No big deal. It definitely could happen. That wouldn't surprise me. If the mail carrier noticed it, yes, it makes sense. The mail carrier should have gone back and got it. But I also wonder if this is some kind of setup. Maybe they're already locking mailboxes. Because if it wasn't a locking mailbox, the neighbor would have already gone through your mail. So I'm wondering if this is already some kind of locking mailbox system where once the mail carrier put it in, they couldn't get it back and put it in the right box. We'll go ahead and read some comments because it seems like they're going to be funny. The next comment after the gold box says, my guess is they're trying to intercept something, either fraudulent or evidence of nefarious activity. The next one says, or they're getting something illegal mailed to them and think using the neighbor's address will protect them from prosecution. Next one says, yes, an illicit mail shipment from Thailand to the mailbox next door. It is done a lot, but they have to monitor closely deliveries, which this guy clearly is. Next comment says, several years ago, I would get a package with my address, but my neighbor's name once a month. They always had tracking, so he would come over when he got home and ask, did I get a package here by mistake? I figured it was some innocent goof up. Long story short, he was getting ED medicine and didn't want his wife to know. Because, it's not a goof up if it has their name, but your address. Because I think regardless of the name on the package, the mail carriers have to go by the actual address. Oh my goodness, the comment section goes on. So someone later on, they ask, how does the mail carrier access a locking mailbox? And someone kindly replied and said there's a slot to drop mail in, but you can't get your hand in there to remove it. You have a key to unlock a door. Yeah, normally like with the locking mailboxes, there's a slot on the front. The mail carrier can slot like letter mail and magazines through. And then the back side has a key you can open up from the back side to get your mail out. And then someone says, that's great, except that you can't receive even small packages. There's a comment that said, and then they go on about different sizes of locking mailboxes and all kinds of things. Like, people are out here in this comment section being helpful. Yeah, that was a lot. It does sound like you're in the US though. Yeah, stop sending your daughter out there. That seems very unsafe. Save the video evidence. Call the police. This is weird. They need to check him. Okay, that was 7 stories for this week's episode of Petty Please. Thank you so much for being here for another episode of the Misty Morrison Podcast. Remember, start each day with a grateful heart. Kindness changes everything. And I'll see you guys next time. Hopefully, no longer coughing. That would be amazing. Bye, guys.